afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum. For the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Obviously, the follow-up to the rate cut that happened yesterday by the Fed. Have a little bit on that. Of course, we'll look at some more tariff news we're getting out there in terms of what tariffs are affecting imports, exports, etc. All that local, national stories you need to know, and so much more. So appreciate you joining us. But let's get it started with that Market Watch. And it's all good after that rate cut yesterday, I should say. The Dow Jones up 142 points right now to 46,171. S&P 500 all-time high today. 31 points up right now, 66.36 for that S&P 500. NASDAQ up 230 points right now to 22,491. Russell 2K, that small cap index, up huge today, 44 points up as well. They're on pace for a record close if they keep this up. 2462 for that small cap index. And then Bitcoin up 1,000 points here today, 117,571 for Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the last week has slowly been going back up from that 112,000 level that it was at earlier. Well, I guess beginning of last week, it's been a slow 800,000 point increases every day for about the last week here for Bitcoin right now. So positive results or positive responses by the market after that rate cut yesterday. And the interesting thing was when the Fed chairman was speaking yesterday, a little bit of a drop down again, a lot of negativity around what he was saying. A lot of investors not really liking what he was saying about specifically the inflation numbers, etc. But market today opening up and being very, very positive as of now. Allstate's the first stock we're going to look at right now. Let's look at that insurance company. Well, it's up today, 4.94%. It reported that their catastrophic losses for July and August, obviously, hurricane season, other big things that happen, in terms of natural disasters. Well, it came in at $397 million. That's a huge decrease in what was expected here for this insurance carrier. The consensus for them was $1.379 billion for the third quarter. For them, big decrease, not a lot of natural disasters. Allstate saving a lot of money there in payouts in terms of the catastrophic losses for them. 4.94% up based off of that news now. Then let's look at a couple of semiconductor stocks. Specifically, Intel's the next one we're going to look at. They're up huge today. Right now, they were up over 28% earlier today. You see on that hump on your screen. Well, they're up 21.67% right now. Well, NVIDIA came out, said they will invest $5 billion in Intel. They're going to co-develop data center and PC products together. The two semiconductor behemoths teaming up here. Intel's up that 21% based off of that. NVIDIA will be our next stock we'll look at as well based off of that news. Well, they're up 3.56% today as they are investing that $5 billion into Intel. Announcement earlier today. So big news there in the semiconductor world, big news in the insurance world, less of catastrophic losses there for Allstate. It'll be interesting to see how State Farm and the other big ones do come in here when they do their reporting on that catastrophic losses or lack of them, apparently, at least according to Allstate here for this year. Later on when we come back and look at stocks, we're going to look at Novo Nordisk again. We're going to look at StubHub again. Just hit the market yesterday, New York Stock Exchange. Darden Restaurants, parent company to the Olive Garden. And I think we're going to find a lesson here with Darden Restaurants. We'll talk about that coming up. And then Cracker Barrel stock as well. In the news as they did their reporting after the big scandal, right? The remodels, the logo, all of this stuff happening around Cracker Barrel. Well, what were their numbers? We'll look at all of them here coming up as well. But first, some of the national stories we got to let you know out there. And you guys remember when, President Trump with Switzerland, he put that 39% tariff on them, and it has taken effect as well. Well, how will that affect imports, right? People were saying, et cetera, and things like that. Well, We now know how it impacted imports here, Swiss exports to the U.S. It took a severe blow last month, but we do find out also that the Swiss did increase shipments to other countries, which of course will help offset the lack of shipments here to the United States. Foreign sales to America, excluding gold here, that'll be a separate number. Well, it was 22% lower in August from the Swiss to the U.S. than it was in July. 22%. That does include a lot fewer watch exports, which is a big one here between the two countries as well. And imports from the U.S. to Swiss, well, they actually held steady from our side to them. The U.S. trade deficit with Switzerland, well, it narrowed. Basically, a third is what it comes down to. 2.06 billion francs is what it was. Well, it was 2.93 billion francs the previous month there. So a third drop there, 22% imports down from that side, from that 39% tariff that the U.S. has on the Swiss right now. August reading, it's the second lowest since 2020. That's according to Bloomberg. They did a bunch of calculations based on Swiss Customs Office data. So we got to give them the credit for the math side of things. Hey, the gold exports to the U.S., well, bigger drop for gold. 99% drop compared to July on gold exports from Swiss. Yes. zero point 0.3 tons was all that was, exported from the Swiss to the United States last month. Now, a lot of that could be there was a lot of confusion about, is gold part of it? Does gold get the big increase? Then they took it away. Then there was confusion if it was back on there. But even then, in August, 99% gold export from Swiss into the United States down from those numbers. So we're seeing real live numbers here with that 39% increased tariff there on the Swiss exports here to the United States. But if we look overall at the Swiss exports, well, they were kind of, equal, even though there's a huge hit to the U.S. side of their trading. Higher shipments went to European countries out there. France, Austria, Poland, Canada, Mexico got a big increase in shipments to them. That obviously helped the Swiss offset the huge drop here to the United States as well. So basically, the exports total only had a 1% decrease from the month earlier overall, even though that huge 22% one just to the United States. So they made up a lot of it to the other countries that they started shipping more to there. So some real life numbers there on these big tariff numbers with certain countries around the world. And now let's talk a little bit about, obviously we know the unemployment rate. It's been hovering in that 4.2% all summer long. It hasn't really moved at all until just here in August, right? We tell you here at McCollum on Business. In August, it was about 4.3% is what it hit. So it started to tick up in August, right? The highest level, by the way, in August since October of 2021. Then if you look at the revisions of the job data, it showed that the U.S. actually shed 13,000 positions in June. That's the first monthly net job loss since December of 2020. But, it added nearly 1 million fewer jobs than initially reported the year prior through March 2025, right? Those are all refreshed numbers. We've told you this here over the last couple of weeks and what we are looking at. What does that mean for our economy? Well, it means we're basically in a no hire, no fire job market. And this story is kind of just an update for those of you that are thinking about leaving your job. You might want to wait unless you have something there. And for those of you that are unemployed looking for work, well, you kind of feel this. We're starting to see numbers actually come out that kind of show us what you guys are feeling who is looking for work out there. The unemployed are staying at jobs they might otherwise leave because they don't want to face this job market that's out there and kind of the feeling of the job market as well. The unemployed are finding they're unable to get a foot in the door. Companies keep from hiring due to the economic uncertainty, and they're just hanging on to their employees. People aren't doing massive layoffs for the most part. We know some of the big tech companies are. Most aren't doing massive layoffs, and most aren't hiring either. Out of work Americans who have been unemployed for more than 27 weeks, Well, that number reached 25.7% in August. Well, that was last seen back in early 2022 before the post COVID boom started to happen in job hiring at that time. Unemployment is nowhere near where it was during the pandemic. Inflation is far below where it was in 2022. Consumer spending, because of those issues, does remain strong, but it is being driven a lot by the high income consumers. They are continuing to spend at those higher levels on the finer things in life, if we can put it that way. Well, the New York Fed's measure of workers' perceived probability of landing a job after losing their current one. We told you this when this report came out a couple weeks ago. Well, that perception is the lowest level, according to that survey data, going back to June of 2013. The University of Michigan study of consumers, well, it shows the share of respondents expected higher unemployment in the next 12 months, and that'll be at its highest since the Great Recession back in the early 2000s. So just an update here, we're seeing numbers, on the tariff side on what the imports or exports from countries into imports into the US. We're seeing true hard numbers on that. We're seeing true hard numbers on the finally breaking loose here, right? Here in the economy. Everybody's been saying leading up to yesterday's quarter rate hike, numbers are good. The economy's strong. Yes, there's unemployment, but consumer spending's up. Inflation's kind of stagnant right now, but everything's manageable. And for those of you looking for jobs, those of you buying groceries, by others of you buying things like that, you're seeing it's a little bit tighter than what we're being told out there. And we're starting to see those numbers kind of reflect those movements here in the market. So that's why you follow us here at McCollum on Business, kind of lead to life decisions here, right? No matter how upset you are at your job, now might not be the time to go out and quit it and not have something else lined up. It's difficult out there from everything we're reading and hearing about out there. And let's develop the hiccups for some reason. Ooh, maybe because we're about to talk sports. The Masters and Amazon Prime Video. We talked about this on the main event yesterday. Well, they announced that viewers will now be able to watch first and second round coverage for 2 hours each day. Additional coverage, I might add. The Masters will stream on Prime Video for those 2 hours before ESPN broadcast takes over in its normal time slot. It'll only be for the first 2 days, so Thursday and Friday. So 4 hours total additional coverage of Augusta. So the addition of Prime Video, primary broadcast and streaming coverage of the Masters, it'll be at least 27 hours long. Well, it was 18 hours just this year when they finished that tournament. Look at that, 9 additional hours total for you golf fans here on the Masters coming up. And if this works for the Masters, it's going to go towards other big events as well in the golf world. So something to kind of pay attention to as we keep getting more and more sports into that streaming world. And then you guys have heard of the law firm Morgan & Morgan. I know you guys, if you follow the Diamondbacks and them, they're advertising constantly. Big sponsor there with the Diamondbacks and everything. They have a tagline. It's for the people is what their tagline is for that law company. They're a national law firm and things to that effect. Well, they have now sued the Disney company. Yes, it's an effort to get a ruling that would allow it to use the old Steamboat Willie, right? The original Mickey Mouse cartoons there with Disney in their advertisements. Steamboat Willie was that groundbreaking 1928 animated short film. It was directed by Walt Disney. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse made their first public appearances with Steamboat Willie way back when. Well, that law firm, Morgan & Morgan, said that the U.S. copyright actually expired last year for that Steamboat Willie. And then it was basically, if the copyright ends up, well, does Disney control it? Is kind of what they're trying to force a judgment here coming up as well. They had reached out, Morgan & Morgan, to Disney to make sure that Disney wouldn't sue them if they used images from the Steamboat Willie cartoons for their TV and online ads. Well, Disney lawyers did respond by saying they didn't offer legal advice to third parties, according to the lawsuit. Yeah, they're not going to tell you what they're going to do, right? I think Morgan & Morgan would understand that as being a law firm. Well, Morgan& Morgan then ended up filing this lawsuit. And they're filing it just because they want to get a decision from the courts because it does fear being sued by Disney for that trademark infringement if it used Steamboat Willie. This is one of the quirks in law, right? You couldn't get an answer, so now you have to go through a lawsuit to get the answer. And if you know them. And how much does Morgan& Morgan want to use Steamboat Willie in their advertisements, right? That they're going through this process. Here's what the ad is that this Morgan& Morgan has out there. It's a black and white, obviously, animated ad. That's what Steamboat Willie was. Now, they want to air this one. It's a voiceover announcer starts and ends the commercial by saying that Disney didn't approve or authorize the advertisement. The ad then shows Mickey captaining, being in charge of a boat on land, and that crashes into a car driven by Minnie. Then Minnie pulls out her phone and contacts Morgan& Morgan law firm. That's the commercial. That's what they want to do, and they're suing Disney to find out if Disney has the copyright on that Steamboat Willie and if they're able to do it or not. Just lawyers, man, right? Just lawyers think that way. They deal that way. Most people would just be like, yeah, we'll use it. We get sued. Or most people would be like, we're not going to use it. Not worth it. Well, not Morgan& Morgan, folks. They're out there battling it out going forward. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep the show going. We'll talk some local stories. Shamrock Farms teaming up with ASU here. We'll get you that story. We'll look at Nova Nordisk, StubHub, Darden Restaurants, and the Cracker Barrel for stocks coming our way. Do another look at the market, which is up big today. A couple records looks like they're going to be set. We'll get you all of that here. Come on back. McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Thursday edition. If you just saw there the Pit Stop ad, well, the Pit Stop Look Ahead show coming up later on today as well. It'll be posted here at Robat TV around 2 o'clock. Of course, you can find it on the new free YouTube channel as well. Of course, Podbean has a free podcast version for those of you that would rather listen to the podcast there at the Podbean, at the Pit Stop Talk, social media, and what you search for there on Podbean to do it. There is a link there at the Pit Stop Talk on X pointing you towards that free podcast as well. Of course, the YouTube channel has the show as well. Thank you for those of you that have found that. We haven't done a ton of advertising. Got that YouTube page. We used to utilize it for some, live events and live shows, and kind of breaking that out now here for On Demand for you guys. And appreciate those of you that found it. Of course, the main event, Uncle Lou came in today. A lot of NFL talk today because UFC's off this week. So if you're interested in in NFL talk, things like, even if you don't gamble, Uncle Lou brings a perspective here so you can talk to your people around your water cooler at work, or however people talk at work nowadays with their people. Gives you a unique perspective on sports there. Uncle Lou joins us for that second hour, of course. Me and Dale get you set up on the first hour for you, and Diamondbacks off today, but that's up on demand right now, Robat TV, on the YouTube page. Free podcast is up as well. Your favorite podcast system out there has the main event. Just type in the main event with Steven, pop right up for you. You can listen to it there. Like and subscribe to that and the YouTube page, and at least help us get it out there for people looking for us and not sure how to find it. We'd appreciate it very much. Of course, this show live at 11 o'clock. Also on the YouTube page, no podcast for this show. but on the YouTube page as well. And for all that being said, let's get right back into that market watch. As we said, S&P jumps to that all-time high. Russell 2K, the small cap index, on pace for a record close. Everything's good today after that quarter rate cut yesterday by the Feds. And yes, Dow Jones up 141 points. S&P 500 up that 31 points right now to that record level. Nasdaq's up 240 points here today. Russell 2K up 45 points. It's on the pace there to close at a record level. It's probably going to stay there unless there's a big dip, with just, an hour and a half or so left in the trading day. Bitcoin continuing that just gradual 1,000, 1,500 point up every day. 117,856 here for Bitcoin here today. And, a lot of stuff happening around there. The Trump administration has asked the Supreme Court to allow the firing of the Fed Governor Lisa Cook. So we will get at least a Supreme Court comment about that, whether they take it on or rule that he's allowed to or not as well. Of course, a lot of condemnation in the business world around ABC pulling the Jimmy Kimmel show yesterday. I know that gets into a lot of politics side. Well, that also has to do with the business side of things, right? For ABC, which of course is owned by Disney out there. So a lot of that stuff kind of in the news here today as well. The FTC does sue Ticketmaster Live Nation. They alleged illegal ticket resale tactics for them. So that lawsuit, we've heard of those lawsuits before. They've been dropped. Well, FTC going after them again right now. And stocks we're paying attention to right now. First one, Novo Nordisk. They're the drug maker. They're Danish, in case you didn't know. Well, they're up big today. It's 5.96% right now. Well, late-stage results for its once-daily obesity pill actually showed significant weight reduction. That's the phrase that the medical filing said, in line with its Wegovy injectable weight loss drug. All of these companies that have the Wegovy, the Zepbound, etc., they all have injectables. They all want a pill form. They're all working hard to get it. Well, Novo Nordisk having some very positive late-stage results for their once-daily pill. That's why they're up 5.96% here today. The first one to come out with a pill is going to have a significant advantage over their competitors. People would rather take pills than, give themselves a shot every day, folks. I don't think there's any secret in that out there in the world. And then next up, let's do our update on StubHub right now. They do tickets, online ticket seller. Well, they're down 4.82% today. They just hit the New York Stock Exchange yesterday. Well, yesterday they were down 6.4% in its debut. Another 4.82% down here today. This has not been a good opening for the market for the first time on the market for StubHub these first 2 days for them out there. They are down. The opening price, if I remember correctly, it was $22 or $23, and then they hit the stock market at $25 yesterday, and down to $20.95 here today. StubHub, not a success story here in its first 2 days for an IPO that has happened here in this last year. Next up, the Olive Garden parent company, Darden Restaurants, is what we're going to look at. Down big today, 7.67%. Little bit of a comeback, was down over 9.5 earlier today. Their first quarter earnings, yes, not a shocker. We're not eating at Olive Garden as much as we used to. It's expensive, folks. This is the lesson to you. Stop being super expensive. It shouldn't cost $100 to go to Olive Garden for a family of four. Well, they are down 7.57% right now because of missing their expectations. They had adjusted earnings of $1.97 per share. Well, they expected 2 cents per share. Revenue was $3.04 billion. Well, that actually matched expectations there. I did try to find out and look into it. I couldn't find it quick enough what their store volume is. Is it up? Is it down? Are less people going to their restaurants as well? But y'all aren't eating at Olive Garden as much. I stopped going there for any time besides lunch. I can go there for lunch and just get a glass of water with lemon, chicken parm with the salad, and it's like 20 bucks, 18 bucks, something like that. You go to dinner, get the same thing. Yeah, it's like 30 bucks, man. 25 bucks. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how expensive they've gotten. Whew. Darden restaurants down 7.51%. Cracker Barrels next up we're going to look at, right? Their announcements is fascinating because this, is kind of, when the turmoil started happening with this company and things, well, they earned just 74 cents per share in their fiscal fourth quarter. 80 cents was what the analysts had estimated for Cracker Barrel. Well, they're down 5.57% right now. Earlier today, they were down 7.2%. At one point was their low point, according to my graph here. Their revenue was $868 million. Well, that actually beat the consensus forecast. It was only $855 million, but obviously missing the per share number there. Well, they're down 5.57%. And, some of the fallback, right, of people upset about the logo and the remodel has gone into this quarter as well. So next time Cracker Barrel reports, we'll have to see if there's been an adjustment up with them backing off all of their stuff they were doing, or if people are still mad at them and still not eating at the Cracker Barrel restaurant out there. Now let's get into some local stories here and wrap the show up here on this Thursday strong. Shamrock Foods, a local company, well, they've announced a 5-year multi-tiered partnership with ASU, right? Arizona State University, but not just the university as a whole, Sun Devil Athletics as well. Obviously, Sun Devil Athletics is huge on the national landscape for all of the athletic side of things. So the partnership connects Shamrock's powerful presence. They're one of Arizona's largest companies here in Arizona. And then they're also going to hook up with the W.P. Carey School of Business and Agriculture and a couple other places. So all of ASU's 600-plus student athletes, well, they'll have access to Shamrock Farms milk, other dairy products, and then it's Rockin' Protein, ready-to-drink protein beverages within their program. And so this newly formed partnership, the nutrition bar in the Butterfield, Kent First Student Athlete Facility, if you say that 10 times fast, well, it's going to be now known as the Rockin' Protein Refuel Bar. Shamrock Farms will also have a presence at ASU football, their basketball, both men's and women's, by the way, and also baseball games. Shamrock Farms will be there. So in addition to the Sun Devil Athletics, I told you, they're going to have a educational situation also with that W.P. Carey School of Business as well. And inside that, it's going to be with the Agriculture Supply Chain Executive Consortium within that WP School of Business they'll be working with as well. Shamrock Farms is also going to support student career initiatives throughout the whole university. So large local company, working with, of course, ASU here in their presence with this multi-year deal here. So some good news with them collaborating together as well. And some other news here, and I often ask myself, when you're not a business-to-consumer company, this would be like a Kroger, right, a Fry's, where you sell to the public, restaurants. Why do you even advertise? Why do it? Like, why does SRP advertise? Why does APS advertise? Maybe we got an answer here in this story because Avnet Inc., well, it's a Phoenix-based company here. They've entered into a sponsorship deal with the Arizona Cardinals. They already have one, but they're expanding their marketing and community relations efforts through professional sports. It's kind of been their ideology here these last several years out there. If you don't know, Avnet Inc. is a technology distributor. They do, that type of a work out there. The partnership includes activations in the community, including around education, signage displayed during exciting parts of home games at State Farm Stadium. Yes, you're going to see it on your TV also for Avnet out there. Avnet wraps up its second season here this year as the jersey patch sponsor of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Well, that was the company's first foray into professional sports marketing. Now they've moved over to the Cardinals. Here's what, so in terms of why is a company that doesn't sell anything to the public, why are they advertising to the public? Like, we're never going to use their products directly. Here's what their CEO, Phil Gallagher, said about this. He told this to the Business Journal. Quote, we're in B2B. We're not in business to consumer, so we're not selling our beer, potato chips, or automobiles. It's just about employee pride, employee engagement, and giving back to the community, unquote, is what he said. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I've always baffled why they spend large millions of dollars to advertise when most people aren't going to use you. But I guess that makes sense to make the employees happy. The deal with the Cardinals was structured mostly around community involvement. This new deal does make Avnet a premier partner with the Cardinals. It promotes awareness of and participation in girls' sports across the state of Arizona. Obviously, flag football is huge right now, this time of year, with the girls' flag football programs and all of the local schools. Avnet's also going to sponsor a Cardinal event to try to inspire students to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math fields. Of course, those are the STEM program fields out there. And then also, like I said, if you're watching the game and it's a home game here, Avnet's name and logo will appear when the Cardinals go into the red zone out there. It's going to be called the Avnet Red Zone. The company has committed to making a monetary donation to the Cardinals Foundation each time the team does enter that Avnet Red Zone out there. So interesting story there with companies that don't do business with the public. 90% of the people they advertise with in Cardinal Stadium, probably 95%, won't ever use an Avnet product directly. I guess that struck me as why I guess you could do it. Community pride, help out the community, but also employee pride out there. So answered at least one of my long-standing questions, and I still question it. Is that fiscally responsible for your company, right? Hey, Santan Valley, they did incorporate. They have been incorporated. They're officially incorporated as the newest town, right? Pinal County Supervisors appointed its inaugural 7-person town council. They did it yesterday. This was all because of the voter approval of Proposition 495 just a couple of months ago down there in Santan Valley. So becoming a official city moving forward. So now that they're officially incorporated, it does make Santan Valley Pinal County's largest municipality. 120,000 residents down there in that southeast portion of the valley. The appointed council members will govern the town until an open election in August of 2026. The government will be fully operational by July 1st, 2026, with significant slate shared revenue to support the government at that time. So Pinal County moving towards becoming a big city, right, down there in the Southeast Valley. And just give you an update there and chugging along. It can't be easy starting a new city, right, down in there. And hey, there's a company here, and I thought they were still owned. I thought they were still based out of here, but I learned something new here with this story. Salad and Go. Yeah, they were founded here in Arizona, down in Gilbert. The owners that founded them, by the way, runs Angie's Lobsters now. They've moved on to that side of things, but they're Salad and Go, affordable salads, big salads as well. Well, they came out and they said they were going to close some restaurants, which put some fear that Arizona would be on that chopping block. Well, no, we find out now 41 restaurants across Texas are going to close for Salad and Go. They're going to include all locations in Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. That's roughly 2/3 of the company's locations in Texas. A few locations in Dallas will remain open along with Oklahoma stores, Arizona, and Las Vegas stores. All impacted stores will be closing today or tomorrow, September 19th, tomorrow. So good notice, right? Salad and Go was founded in 2013 in Arizona and moved its headquarters to the Dallas area recently. So although the restaurant's scaling back across Texas, their CEO out there said the move will allow Salad and Go to focus on strengthening its presence in Dallas and even invest more in improving its quality. I don't get why you move to Texas and then leave Texas. Let me explain that to me. This CEO, Mike Tattersfield, well, he was hired in April. The former CEO, Charlie Morrison, actually stepped down in November of 2024. He had a big disagreement with Salad and Go board members on the strategy of the company. Charlie Morrison, who left the company, he has since gone on. He's become CEO of Jersey Mike's Subs, which is having a big growth as well. So the company Sell It and Go first opened its Texas location in 2021 in Plano. It's since grown to more than 60 stores across Texas. After the locations do close, Sell It and Go will be down to 25 locations throughout Texas. They do have 140 locations overall throughout the rest of the country. Right? I said Oklahoma, Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Arizona as well. So and they quietly shifted their headquarters to Texas. Like I thought they were still based here. The company maintains a strong presence, obviously, here in the Phoenix metro. It has had recent years exploring options to build a new food processing and cold storage center over in Surprise. Last year, though, they backed out of that deal and was instead opting to invest in more stores to enhance its existing central kitchen facility that's over there at 27th Avenue in Phoenix. That's still there. The facility employed 117 people at the time and serves Arizona and Nevada locations, gets the food out to them there. And they want to kind of do something like that, of course, in the Texas area. And by the way, the original founders of Sell It and Go, they sold their shares. They relinquished control of the company, and they even sold all of their shares in it. They sold them to a private equity firm, and now they're running Angie's Lobsters, and I think it's Angie Lobster and Prime Rib and whatever their name is changed. Now I had Angie's Lobsters yesterday. So good, so good, folks. Their warm lobster rolls are fantastic. And with all that being said, boy, am I hungry. So let's go grab some food. Pit stop coming up. The look ahead show to this weekend in New Hampshire. I'll talk a little IndyCar as well with more details on their schedule. We did that on the Look Back show on Monday. If you didn't catch that, it's up at Robat TV and on YouTube as well, and the free podcast system. Follow me at the Pit Stop Talk as well on X, and get all of the social media updates around racing. For those of you that like racing, we'll be back tomorrow, folks, 11 o'clock, Friday edition. Come and join us. We'll see you then. Have a great Thursday night.